Emmaus Borough Council meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. For the record this evening, Mr. Barrett is absent and Mayor Yopes is absent. First on the agenda this evening would be personal appeals. If any member of the audience has a personal appeal, please approach the podium, state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to present your appeal. Hearing none. Moving on to the community minute. Any member of council have anything this evening? Special presentations, nothing this evening. Reading of the minutes. In your binder, you'll find the minutes of the January 19th, 2015 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the formal reading of the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lavenberg. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Anders. Discussion? All those in favor?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I would request that my name be changed to reflect me. Instead of Tom Dimmick, it should be Jeffrey Dimmick.
Sorry.
It's no problem.
I didn't catch
Oh, the other Dimmick.
Yeah, the other one.
There's two of them.
You know, 4 people look at these minutes. I want to about this. My apologies.
I should have called you about it. I saw it when I looked
I
at
think
it.
Tom was here.
was here.
Oh, was Sturbit? Was Al Sturbit
was
here?
here.
Was that Starbucks?
See, we got
So you weren't even here.
Oh, wait, yeah.
We got
let's
a
see.
50-50 chance if we go.
January 19th, I was here.
We canceled the last meeting, but I
You
thought...
know what?
No, Al was here.
I'll go back. I noted in my handwritten
Okay.
notes. I'll go back and I'll find out who the solicitor was.
Yeah,
and
just
I
as
will
progress.
correct the minutes.
Okay.
I have a feeling it was
Well,
Al,
we didn't
though.
get to the corrections yet.
No, we're not even at the corrections yet.
It might be.
All those in favor of dispensing of the formal reading of the minutes? We have 5 ayes. Additions or corrections? Mr. Pepe, if you could check on the solicitor and correct the solicitor. Any other additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Shubsta. Discussion? All in favor? We have 5 ayes. Decision on bids, nothing this evening, Mr. Pepe?
No.
Communications, beginning with Douglas Ho on behalf of the Emmaus Kiwanis Club requesting use of Community Park for the Easter egg hunt. I believe I saw in Parks and Rec Committee notes that this has already been discussed.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you. So that's well on its way. Moving on to Joanne Corsiato, 1420 Little Lehigh Drive North, expressing her concerns relating to cutting back garbage from twice a week to once a week. She believes there's a health issue, especially as the weather warms up. I will refer that letter to Health, Sanitation, and Codes. Is that what you're officially called now?
Might be even longer than that.
So we'll refer that to your committee, Mr. Shubsta. Maybe you can have that discussion. Yes, Mr. Ladenburg.
I would respectfully request that we also have Shane reply to him that we have a locked-in contract and that, you know, if they're concerned about that, that make sure they have a lid on their trash can, and, you know, it is what it is.
I agree, and I don't believe it's uncommon for municipalities to have once-a-week pickup. I think we were very uncommon in having twice-a-week pickup.
Yes.
So if you could, Mr. Pepe, if you could let them know that we're locked into a contract and that's the way it'll be. But I also believe Health and Sanitation can have that discussion, and maybe in the next newsletter we can give out some tips of how to best manage your trash.
You'll be actually the newsletter article is already on our website.
Okay.
If you on the main page, if you click on the article about refuse and recycling, it's there. And what we did, the way we designed it was a question and answer, and we actually made the recommendation that, you know, some people made the comments about it being a sanitation issue and garbage cans with lids.
Stop that.
Or the common practice across the nation.
And they can seal it. I mean, they're
Right.
sealed, but you don't smell.
But I have no issue
Yeah,
writing a letter, and we can talk about it in the committee.
sure.
My question would be, does our trash hauler provide cans for purchase, or do you have to purchase them through?
That's not there.
Okay, they don't do that. I know we have some out back. I didn't know if they sold those.
And
or-
you know, Mr. Shubster and I have discussed this at length. The way your ordinance is written is really odd. Like, it seems like somebody wanted to play hardball at first writing this ordinance of everybody has to have a can, and then at some point somebody softened it and said, or garbage bags that can't be broken into.
Yes. That's
It's
what it
kind of, I
said.
mean, it's,
That's exactly what it said.
Go ahead,
If I
Mr.
could jump in,
Please.
I believe it was always a limit of 6 bags too, and if you read that, you're thinking 6 bags out there, not 6 bags in a
Right.
can. You don't think of it that way.
right.
Well, very good. If you could reply to Mrs. Corsiato, Mr. Pepe, we'd appreciate it. Moving on to Kathy Mintzer has a request to hold Community Day on June 21st and movie nights on June 26th, July 10th, and August 14th. I believe I saw that this is also
Yes,
already
sir.
in your committee.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you very much. Next piece of communication comes from Phil Michael of 540 Broad Street with the same concerns about refuse in the summer. Concerned about maggots and flies. If he could receive the same response as Mrs. Corsiato, and also let them know that it's been referred to our committee, that would be wonderful. One more is Carolyn Kroc, a request to remove the handicap sign at 638 Walnut Street. Mrs. Sebring is deceased, and there is no need for a sign there anymore. And I believe that should be referred to General Administration? Is that what we did?
Public safety.
Public Safety. And I'll refer that to Public Safety. Borough Engineers Report. I have no engineer this
I have
evening.
one more communication.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Go right ahead.
On your desk, you have a letter from the Emmaus High School Department of Athletics regarding, I believe it's the senior class picnic on May 22nd, requesting that we do the same thing we've done for recent years, and that's waiving the rental fees for the senior picnic.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Labenberg. There's a motion to allow the Emmaus High School to use Community Park, the Arts Pavilion, Rotary Pavilion, and Moser Pavilion on Friday, May 22nd from 7 a.m. to 2:25, and to waive the fee. The motion by Mr. Labenberg. Is there a second to his motion? Second by Mr. Anders. Discussion? All those in favor? We have 5 ayes. Anyone else have any piece of communication this evening? Hearing none. Mr. Solicitor, your report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like everyone to know that we have filed our brief with the Commonwealth Court in the matter involving the fire department, and I assume that copies are available to you. If they are not, or you do not have one, we can make it available electronically, and I can email it to you, or you can get or we'll give you a hard copy. It was a difficult topic, and Tom worked very hard on it. I gave my input, but he was the main author of it, and I think we stand a very reasonable chance of a favorable outcome. No guarantees, but I feel comfortable. So that's all I have to report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Moving on to unfinished business, Part 1. I see nothing. New business, beginning with ordinance number 1121. I believe this would be called the graffiti ordinance. I'm not sure which committee this comes out of, but if someone would like to explain this to us.
Mr. Brown?
Mr. Brown?
Yeah, this comes out of the public safety meeting. This is something that the committee has been working on for some time now. We've, in partnership with Sergeant Geschwint and some other members of the public safety team, we came up with this ordinance. This was brought to us actually by Chief Faust. This is something that is throughout municipalities that gives us the ability to, for example, Lions Park gets tagged sometimes, or if your personal property gets tagged sometimes, we have the ability to help the resident clean the graffiti off, and also whoever does it to have some teeth to press charges or at the district magistrate. So that's what this is. Hopefully you're able to read it. There's a bunch of detail in it, going from aerosol cans to markers of what types of graffiti or what type of material is used for graffiti. Really, that's in a nutshell. But I'll make a motion then to bring that
To read it in
the
short title?
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a motion to.
I think I overstepped my bounds. You're supposed to say.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So that's
There's
why
a
I
motion
stopped.
to read ordinance number 1121 in short title. Is there a second for that?
Yep.
You can't second your own motion, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I was just
Mr. Labenberg, second.
getting anxious.
Discussion? All those in favor? We have 5 ayes. Ordinance number 1121, ordinance amending the provisions of Chapter 6 of the Emmaus Borough Codified Ordinances entitled Conduct by adding Part 5 Graffiti. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 1121? Motion by Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
I'll go second.
Thank you, Mr.
For
Shubsta.
discussion.
Second by Mr. Shubsta. Discussion. Let's start with Mr. Labenberg.
I will not be voting for this unless some things are removed. I don't support this because, one, it puts restrictions on businesses where they have to make, it says they have to put continuous electronic or mechanical surveillance or control. It has to be in direct line of sight from the cash register or a work area that is normally continuously occupied while in the store, and in a place not accessible to the public in the regular course of business. So I just think those restrictions are too much for a business, and I don't even know if they were involved in this or notified. Also, I just do not support saying that somebody under 18 can't buy broad tip magic markers. I just think that's ridiculous. So somebody's 17 years old and wants to make a poster for their high school football game, they got to go get their parents to buy a magic marker. I mean, I think that's ridiculous. Now, on the other hand, I support the strong language of when you catch them, or if you find them on public property with the spray paint cans or markers where they don't have the permission of the private landowner. I support all that. But the fact that they can't purchase it, I don't support that. But I support the enforcement of the graffiti part of it. So
Just the markers or the spray paint, the purchasing? I was curious.
That also, because what is the law in Allentown? Can somebody from Emmaus just go right to Dick Blick and buy it?
I think it.
I mean, you're talking
the spray
a half
paint.
hour-
I think is state law. I never encountered the marker one before, but the spray paint is.
To me,
Yeah,
it's
spray paint.
you drive a half mile and go to Dick Blick and buy it.
You can buy them at CVS.
Right, but if we
Yeah.
come out with this law, like we're really restricting a lot of businesses, and I don't support that. But I support the aspect of enforcing the graffiti part of it. Somebody, a teenager has 3-4 aerosol cans in his gym bag or a backpack, and he's on somebody's property, we can nail him then. The way I understand it.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. Am I right on that?
No, yeah, you're right. I just want to clarify letter J. The way that I read it and the way that you read it may be two different things. I think what they're saying in letter J is to sell those things, you have to do any of those three. It doesn't have to be.
I don't see it as or.
I see either.
Yeah, it's definitely, you have to do one of
One or
those.
the other.
One of the three?
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
of the three.
just one of.
In direct line of sight.
So
To-
if you
to
if
be
you put it
stored
all
either
by
one
inside of
in-
the cash register, you're fine.
Okay. Because I see at the end of 2, it says or, and then it goes into 3, but I don't see that after 1.
Yeah, the intention is, I mean, the way that's written, to be stored either 1 in this, 2 under that, 3 in a place.
So if it's in the direct line of workers where they're continuously walking through, that covers it.
That covers it.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be encased in
Right,
glass.
right.
It doesn't
Yeah,
have to have a
the
camera
intention-
on it.
The
No,
intention
as long
when
as
it
they
was
can
written,
see it.
and to be very clear, this came from a compilation of a couple towns.
Right.
But the intention of it was one of those 3 options. And if you were to go down to one of these stores now, they have a direct, they can, it's not like, I don't think the stores in town have to make any changes that they already have in place.
CVS would.
So I'm fine with that, but then the purchase of somebody.
Of markers.
But they're all,
The broad
CVS
tips.
has everything, you're being videotaped in the parking lot of CVS.
Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, the magic marker part, I
see what
just
you're
think that's ridiculous.
Well, and you guys, I mean, if
that's-
you have every right to make any changes you want now.
We could
Right.
take that out.
I mean, you can take it out right now.
Yeah,
you so
and,
choose.
I mean, to be honest with
Well,
you,
it's in
to say you
I2.
can't buy spray paint, I wouldn't support that either.
I think
but-
that's
Well,
I think that's
I think
state
that's
law.
state law.
That's state law.
That's state law. You get carded to buy spray paint
So that's
now.
anywhere in the state.
Yeah.
Well, then why did we have to put it in here if it's already state law?
Again, like I said, we didn't
You're
start
just
this
getting
one
it
from
from other
scratch.
ordinances?
We got it from other ordinances.
All right, well, if we remove the magic marker part, I will support this,
And-
and knowing that it's already state law.
And Mr. Liebenberg, where exactly?
It is in
Letter I.
G on the top of the next page, though. It says aerosol container or marker and has consented to the minor's possession while on his property. That's the marker part.
So you want the or marker out, right?
Yeah, and then also an H, broad-tipped indelible marker. I don't know if it's, it's also
And
in
I.
It's in
I.
I, yeah.
Can we just say wherever the marker part is and remove it?
Any reference
Yeah, because
to
it's in
marker?
J as well.
Because I think it's multiple places. I didn't mark all the places.
Would you want the definition removed then, too?
Well, if we're not going to have it in the ordinance, then you would
Yeah.
need to have a definition.
Correct.
Well, I think you
I don't
need it
think
in
you
there
want it all
though,
the way
because
gone,
you do mention that it's using a marker on the side of a house is considered graffiti. So you do need to keep it
I'm
in the
fine with
ordinance.
that.
All right.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
keep it in the
Definition.
definitions.
Yeah.
You just don't want people arrested for carrying markers, and you don't want them to not be able to buy
I think
markers.
that's-
I think that's
I think
A lot of
that's-
artists going.
totally understandable. Yeah.
But I know a lot of hard work went into this in time, but I just think that's overkill.
No, and we appreciate the feedback. I mean, that's why you guys do this. So it's the nice thing about doing a first reading on an ordinance is you're able to pick out things that you otherwise agree with most of it. You would have to ask if they'd amend their motion.
Well, but he had more comments.
Let me
on
hear the rest of the
from
comments.
Mr. Roy.
Actually, my comment was the same. The marker issue, I just thought was
Overkill.
It just, yeah. And of course, depending on what it was for the local business. I mean, I can think of Wentz Hardware. I'm not sure where to keep all their spray paint and their markers. You know,
Spray paint's right up front.
It's right
Yeah,
here.
it's right in
It's right there.
Yeah. It's
so
on the one
I mean
side,
that
so
was
you
just
go
my two
And these
concerns,
are
and he put it right, beat me to it.
Any further discussion?
The only question I have is on A, about the violations and penalties. It just gives a broad range. What determines
Where,
that broad range of 100?
are you under
100
penalties or are you under
Yeah, under
prohibition?
under penalties.
Violation
It
of
says not
penalties.
less than $100 nor more than $1,000.
Magistrate.
Yeah, the magistrate decides that.
Magistrate is the one who determines it? Is that
Yeah.
based on?
You
what
see
they
all of
did?
your fines in every ordinance are like that.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like we take somebody for not paying their refuse bill. They pay $25 because that's what she decides.
That's what they decide.
That's
Okay.
the minimum that they can pay.
Can I ask just one other question?
Please.
Under C, if the owner, occupant, or other responsible agent of the property fails to remove the graffiti or give consent for removal within 10 days after the second notice of
6.
violation, so
So we
the homeowner gets tagged for it and they, for whatever reason, haven't gotten to remove it, we're gonna fine them? Am I
Well, now
right with
remember
that?
what the ordinance says. We give them a
That's what I
first
meant.
notice that it's there.
Yes.
We give them a second notice.
Okay,
I mean, you're giving them
Okay.
every opportunity to respond to you. If they don't respond,
then we can.
The
find
idea
it.
is to
Okay.
get rid of graffiti entirely.
Right.
Because we have houses that have had graffiti on it for 5 years.
No, I can think of trash things I see around town, and even the train,
Yeah.
you know, you
Right,
just
the
drive
overpasses.
through. Right, I mean, that would cover those, they'd have
I
to
mean,
remove where we
you know,
find
if it's been on your house for a year, you kind of know it's there.
it. Very good. Okay, that's fine, thank you.
All right, now, my motion was,
I think Mr. Lieber.
Mr. Laban, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr.
Um,
Laban.
By saying removal of, does it have to be painted over, or what is the entail of? Is
It could
that-
be painted over, you can get graffiti removal.
Removal.
Okay.
It depends on
Depends
how
what
quick you get
surface,
to it.
yeah, and
Do
what
we
surface.
give that information to them when we say you have to remove it? Is that
Yeah.
part of the what?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And quite honestly, if you arrest a juvenile for graffiti, you strike a deal with the judge that that's part of his punishment. Is he has to remove it.
Clean the whole borough.
Yeah.
Clean all of it.
It's the best punishment you could do is make them go out there and watch
All of
it.
it.
You stand there and watch them do it. Or anybody for that matter. It doesn't have to be a teenager.
Okay, now, my motion was,
Mr.
Fine.
Brown made the motion, so it's a motion to amend.
so I need a motion to amend.
No, you just have to ask Mr.
Mr.
Brown
Brown.
if he'd amend his
Yes,
motion.
I'll amend
You'll
mine.
amend my motion to remove indelible markers? And who was my second?
Mr.
It was
Shubsky.
Mr. Shubs,
I'll amend, yep.
you'll amend your second.
Yep.
Very good. Now, to adopt the ordinance, we need a roll call vote. Mr. Labenberg.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Shubsta.
Aye.
Mr. Anders.
Aye.
Mr. Holtsafer votes aye. 5-0 vote. Mr. Pepe, I'm assuming you will now make changes and then,
We'll make the amendments and we will advertise for your March 16th council meeting.
very good, thank you, sir. Moving on to ordinance number 1122, an ordinance amending chapter 15 for resident permit parking on Iroquois Street between Macungie Avenue and North 7th Street Circle. I read in the notes that this block, bless you, this block is being used by students to park for the high school, and unfortunately somehow it was missed in the past, so it is the recommendation of, I believe I saw Officer Garloff, to include this street in the resident parking permits.
Correct. You need a motion.
I need a motion to read in short title.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Labenberg. Discussion? All in favor? We have 5 ayes. Ordinance number 1122, an ordinance amending Chapter 15, Sections 404D1 of the Codified Ordinances establishing resident permit parking on Iroquois Street between Macungie Avenue and North 7th Street Circle. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 1122? Motion by Mr. Brown. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Anders. Discussion? Mr.
Do
Labenberg.
the residents in this neighborhood currently have permits?
No,
No.
that's the complaint
Did
came from a
somebody
resident.
request for this?
Yeah.
Yes.
One resident.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple on the block. So North 7th Street Circle has permit parking.
Pine Street. has it.
Macungie Avenue has permit parking. Pine Street has permanent parking, but the one block between Macungie and North 7th Street Circle, for some reason,
Was
didn't
missed.
get.
How many homes are there?
Is it 4?
Before, maybe.
How many signs we have to post? 2?
2, one on each end of the block.
Mr. Anders.
Do we know how many students are actually parking there that's saying, I mean, I'm going from, I know I'm a father of a senior high school student that parks actually on the street, but he parks in a legal spot, not in, a resident spot, and he walks down to school. I don't believe it's on this street, but are we really having that much issue?
I believe we had.
Has anybody gone by when the students are there? I mean, they're growing. You're having a growing population of students, juniors and seniors, driving to school now, and they do have the parking lot, and they can get permits. But I mean, you look around there and you drive down there in the morning. I mean, you got people parking all the way down, out various different areas just to get to school. And I'm just curious if how many are really parking in this area that it needs a new ordinance.
Our understanding is they're filling up the block. That came from Sergeant Garloff. correct?
Absolutely, yeah. It was the recommendation of our police officer
Do
that
it.
this is necessary. Mr. Brown, so I
Yeah.
would believe that means, yes, the police are out there checking if people are parking there during the school day, and yes, they have determined that it's necessary. Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I think that, Mr. Anders, if that's a concern of the parking issue, the parking lot at the school, the annex parking lot that's on North Street, that's not filled to capacity at all.
They give out the tags though. If you don't have a tag, you don't get in.
Right, so we need
But
to talk to
is
the.
that our problem? though?
Right, we need
Not our
to,
issue.
what I think you
No.
should do is talk to the school and help, maybe we get the school involved and become partners in this, and maybe the school can become a little bit more flexible in their parking policies as well.
So this is a roll call vote. Mr. Labenberg,
No.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Shubsta,
Aye.
Mr. Anders.
No.
Mr. Holtsafer votes aye. We have 3 ayes and 2 noes.
Is this first reading?
That was first reading, correct. Same plan for that one, Mr. Pepe. Moving on to second meeting in March for second reading. Thanks, sir. All right, moving on with my agenda. 2, unfinished business, part 2. I have nothing for this evening. You'll notice that second reading of removing handicap signs will be the next meeting, first meeting in March. Items not on the agenda, subject to Rule 9. Any member of council have anything this evening? Mayor's report.
Just one item, just a reminder that you can drop off unused medications at the police department. They do have a med drop box. Hours are 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. Other than that, that's it. I'll report progress for the mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Committee reports. Public Works, Mr. Ladenburg.
Yes, the committee met on February 5th here in council chambers. You can see the memorandum with the topics that were discussed. A couple points of interest. The Canals Homestead was inspected by our Public Works Director and Jim Farnsworth and Daniel Sell. A lot of issues there. I heard, was that Budget and Finance discussing that?
Yes, sir.
So it's more than one committee now looking at this. One thing I would suggest is maybe we find out if there's any D restrictions also, or anything as far as restrictions. I also do know that originally when we had the house painted, I believe that was a grant, because that was quite a bit of money. But I don't know if we researched that or not.
Yeah, if it's on the historical registry, which it might be, then it gives you the ability to get grant funding for improvements and repairs. So.
And then we probably need to find out where the land's, if it's divided up in lots or so on, what the actual property is, like our Remembrance Garden, our Memorial Garden, I mean. You have the barn there, and just wondering as far as the property line. Also in your packet, if you see right after the memorandum, there is a sheet that has all kinds of numbers on it. This is now something that our Public Works Director can do on any project. He can plug in the numbers of man hours, equipment used, products purchased, and come up with a figure for each project. So he can come up with a total for how much it costs for snow blast, a total for after a snowstorm if they're clearing out the downtown. So he's not going to do it if you're going to put just one sign in, but if there's projects around town, he can now put a cost to it. So now when we have organizations come to us and say, you know, what have you done for us? We could say, well, these projects that we prepare your events for, this is how much man hours and equipment is used, and there's a cost to that. So we will now be able to do that, and if you take the time to look at it, you'll see how it's done. So that's coming along. That was something that Shane and John, through the new system, right?
Yep.
What's the system called?
iWork.
iWork, that's just the one where our interns plugged a lot of information into, and anyhow, that system is doing wonders for this borough, making us more efficient. I mean, those are the two highlights. We also discussed possibly purchasing more pickup trucks for the Public Works Department, not adding any more cost, but basically shuffling things around so you can read that. And if anybody doesn't have any questions, I will say progress. Okay, Roy?
It's just more of a comment. I mean, obviously, we've had many recent snow events, and the crew has been out there working many different hours, and you can see part of the hours from the iWork program, but they are doing a fine job out there. They're working, getting the streets cleared for us, and, even, clearing not only downtown, but everywhere, and they should be noted for, their efforts out there.
Year in and year out, they do a fine job. And thank you for your comments. Progress.
Thank you, sir. Health, sanitation, and codes, Mr. Shubsta.
Thank you. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 19th. That's this week. At 4:30 p.m., I will report progress. The only thing I do have to mention is I did receive two documents here for two conferences that are coming up. One is for the Pennsylvania Land Conservation Conference, May 7th through 9th in Gettysburg. We'll mention those also in our meeting. And they also have an Environmental Advisory Council networking conference that's going to take place May 9th in Gettysburg also. And progress.
Thank you, sir.
Do you get those?
You want to go to those?
I don't know if I want to.
He just feels important.
Do you want to go?
You'll be out there, won't you?
Are you going?
Parks and Rec, Mr. Anders.
Yes, we actually have several items this evening to discuss, and several that we'll need to approve. The first was a request by the Emmaus Aquatics Pool to rent the pool again for the 2015 season. We did discuss the fee schedule, and I wanted to ask Mr. Pepe, did we?
I absolutely forgot. I apologize.
Okay. We discussed, we believe it was increased just last year, and we did want to recommend for the rental of the pool to the Emmaus Aquatics for the 2015 as the same conditions as the 2014 rental agreement. And I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Anders. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Mr. Labenberg. Discussion. All those in favor? We have 5 ayes.
Next on the agenda would be the Easter egg hunt. This is an annual event held by the Kiwanis. This year would be at Community Park on April 4th, 2015. And they are requesting use of the park, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Labenberg. Discussion.
Just in the past, this has always just been handled by staff.
Has it? Okay.
Yep.
Then do we need?
We're already there. All those in favor? We have 5 ayes.
I gotcha.
Too late.
All right. The next request comes from Kathy Mincer for Friday Night Under the Lights movie nights. She is requesting to do movie nights on June 26th, July 10th, and August 14th. It would be Under the Stars at the Community Park football field. Football is actually sponsoring 2 of the events for June 26th and July 10th, and I would like to put that in the form of a motion as well.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Labenberg. Discussion. I notice, Mr. Anders, she's also requesting use of the Arts Pavilion if
Does it say
it
that?
rains.
There
That's
may
what
be
I'm
issue
looking
with that
for.
because I believe they are booked on some of those.
I'm assuming, are those Saturday nights, 26, 10?
Friday nights.
Oh, okay.
Friday night under the lights.
Yeah, there might be some.
There could be an issue, but it could be less of an issue on a Friday than a Saturday. Mr. Labenberg.
I would say if there's if the pavilion, arts pavilion's not available, that they could use another pavilion instead.
Sure.
As long as they're undercover.
It's fine. I have no problems with
I
that.
can amend that motion then?
If you'd like to, sure. Would you amend your second then?
Sure.
To allow them to use the pavilion if it rains. Very good. Any further discussion? All those in favor? We have 5 ayes.
Next is Kathy Minster and the commission requesting Community Park for Community Day on June 21st. We did discuss that it is Father's Day. The commission is aware. I did go back and discuss it with Ms. Minzer, and the commission is still in agreement that they feel they can put on a great event for that day. There'll be many different things such as baseball, softball as usual. There is a band booked that in the evening through the special entertainment alias. So they would like to use Sunday, June 21st as Community Day and hold the event. This would be the 4th annual event.
Very good. And you're making that in the form of a motion?
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Labenberg. Discussion? All in favor? We have 5 ayes.
Okay. Next on my, it's actually not on my agenda, but was discussed at our meeting, is Rochelle Romeo came to our meeting to discuss a 5-mile race in the borough.
We put that under the,
Is that under,
because the motion came out of public safety.
came out of public safety?
So,
Okay. I
But
will
you can
defer till public safety? or-
talk about it.
Okay. Basically, this is a race that they would like to start in the borough. It would be a part of a 3-part series race that they would be putting on in the Lehigh Valley. It would be held, I'm sorry, the date here. I'm blanking on the date.
It's not in here, Al.
Yes, 6/6/2015. I'm sorry, there is
Oh, it
a
is June
information
6th.
sheet with that. There would be some needs for some street closures, which the route is still being worked on, I believe. They're estimating 500 to 1,000 people. They would like to have the event culminate, finish down at the Triangle to have some music and beverages and food at that. That's the majority of the items for the race.
Very good. If you'd like to make a motion.
Do we do it? I know public safety also discussed it.
I saw it was at numerous places in the binder. I'm not
Correct.
sure
So that's why I
how we're
was,
proceeding at this point.
Yeah, well, it started in Parks and Recs. It was referred to public safety because there are street issues. So public safety met with her, I think it was the next day.
correct.
And a motion did come out of that committee. So whoever you'd like to make a motion, I don't think it's.
Who do you want to make it?
Wait till we get to Nate, to public safety.
Once public.
If you don't mind, if we can make
Okay,
the
no,
public
that's,
safety.
that's fine. I just wanted to touch on that. We also had a group come in regards to using Community Park for, it's called Ride for Hope. It's a cancer fundraising event, and they'd like to hold the event on July 11th. I'm not sure if they followed up yet with anything, Shane. Okay. I would hold off on this then until they follow up with more information at this point then.
Very good. Questions, Mr. Labenberg?
Is it, should we refer them to filling out an event form?
We did that day.
Yeah, we had our.
They didn't hand it in yet. Okay.
They have not. On that note, if there's any other questions, I would report progress.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Enders.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to public safety. Mr. Brown, I believe you're handling it this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Holtsaver. I'm just going to go right down the list here. Letter D under Public Safety, the appointment of Sean Lubineski to the Safety Committee. There is I believe there's a spot available. Is that the correct?
Jan Harmony resigned.
Yeah,
Jane
the
Harmony
representative.
resigned. So
Yeah, she's
I'll
gonna
make
be
a
the fire
motion to
department.
appoint Sean Lubineski to the Safety Committee.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Mr. Anders, second. Discussion. All in favor? We have 5 ayes.
Thank you. The next thing on our list is the Emmaus 4-miler race conducted by Mr. Barrett. All the information is presented here. This is something that is an annual thing that is going to be happening Sunday, April 12th. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve Mr. Barrett's request for the Emmaus 4 miler. The community event information sheet is here, and also, as you can see, the map of the route is attached as well.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Anders. Discussion. Mr. Liebenberg.
Is this the finalized map?
I think this one always stays the same,
This
so
always
yes.
stays, yes.
This is the Emmaus 4 miler.
Oh, you missed, okay, I'm sorry.
So this
I'm
one's
getting
been-
mixed
I
up
think I
with
saw
that.
38 or 39 years
The
of the same
phone
race.
miler, I'm getting
We're not there yet. Yeah, you're getting excited. Huh? All in favor of this request? We have 5 ayes. Now, go ahead, Mr. Brown.
Okay, now the 5-miler race by Rochelle. Is it Romeo or Romeo? Again, it's the first year in Emmaus. Again, Mr. Anders said it's June 6th, 2015. I'm asking, or the Public Safety Committee, for official action for tonight is to approve the 5-miler race contingent upon insurance, finalization of the course route, and consultation and approval of the Chief of Police regarding safety aspects of the race.
Can I add one more part?
Is that
Might miss.
is that your motion, Mr. Brown?
Yes, it is.
I'll second it, but I think it should be amended then.
Okay.
But I'll wait for discussion.
Go ahead. Second. Discussion.
Also, they were talking about having alcohol on the triangle, and I think that should be contingent upon having the proper licenses and officers up at the triangle. So I don't know how you want to phrase that, but
You willing to amend your motion, Mr.
But are you asking that an officer be there for the?
yeah, we discussed that there was going to be an officer there because of
Yeah,
alcohol.
That was definitely part of,